Yokusho. Thank you for watching the live Sashiko live streaming. This is Atsushi. Today I will do the live streaming. Oops. Sorry, let me do that again. I hope it's on. Is it on? Just just a second. I hope it's on. I don't see that. Where am I? Just a second. I'm sorry. Let me restart it. Let me restart it. All right, there we go. There we go. Okay, thank you for watching the Sashiko live streaming. This is Atsushi, and I will do the live streaming on both platforms today, Instagram and YouTube, and this is the English version. So last night, I was doing the live streaming on the YouTube, and I got a text message from my friends, and I was kind of replying that while doing the live streaming, and I just realized, oh, I can probably do the both platform. Before this new equipment, this video got so much better because I invested some of the stuff in the equipment. Now I can use the both cell phone and yes, new camera. So I will try to do the both. The reason I don't do only the Instagram is that I really don't have time and also the good computer to edit the live streaming and leave it as an archive on the YouTube. So as long as I do it here like this, all the videos are gonna be left archived in the YouTube. All right, let's start. Where was I stitching? Where was I stitching? I have seen people stream on 3 of wow. I need more money for that to get ready. This is as much as I can, I think. So this is the live streaming. The whole purpose of live streaming is to share the unedited, unmodified image of Sashiko stitching. Like, this is really live. I'm stitching while streaming. So I cannot really hide anything or change anything because you're seeing as me stitching. So I can share the actual image of Sashiko stitching without any, covering up. I do not answer the question about technical terms because I do have already a lot of videos on YouTube talking about techniques, and I do have the online Sashiko class for those who need like a quicker learning or my personal attention. So I do not answer the technical question that much, but I am very happy to answer any kind of cultural, philosophical, historical, those questions about Sashiko in English. So if you have any questions, just leave the comments. I might not answer that, especially on the Instagram. It is kind of difficult to follow all the comments. So if you kind of missed it, you can keep asking the question. On the YouTube, it is much easier to keep track on the questions, so you may wanna consider joining it there too. Okay, so there was the question yesterday. There was a question about not a question. There was a tip about not. It was actually a question. The question was if it is okay or correct to stitch from the back side or front side of the fabric when we stitch. As you know already, if you follow me for a while, there's no such a thing as right and wrong. There's no such a thing as correct way and wrong way in doing any of Sashiko. It's just different in different region. So I'm not gonna say what is correct and what is wrong. However, we stitch from the back side. So we look at the back side of the fabric, we prepare the patterns on the back side of the fabric, which we sometimes call it the wrong side or hiding side or messy side. Either way, we look at the back side and then stitch without looking at the front side, finished side. We have a lot of reason for that. We have a lot of reason to do it. And I believe I have a video article explaining what is the reason behind that. And one of the biggest reason we stitch from the back and then take care of the both side is to make the Sashiko fabric sort of reversible. Reversible. Mugwort. Mugwort ってなんだ？なんだそれ？俺知らないその単語。Some people say that it is impossible or Sashiko is not designed to have both sides as the finished side. Like, reversible. Their culture that the Sashiko is not meant to be reversible, but at the same time there is culture that Sashiko was practiced to make both sides finished side. So I shared some of the photos there last night, but I couldn't share the actual sample because I didn't want to wake up my families. I brought the sample today, so I would like to explain what I mean by making both sides as the finished side with the actual sample after making some stitch. マグワートってよもぎなんだ。Thank you. ありがとうございます。よもぎ。よもぎ。When the question is when we make the Sashiko reversible, you just cut the loops and tails of thread. Yes and no. You have to learn how to do kasane, and that's more like a technical terms. And I believe I do have a video explaining that how to not to make a knot. By making that kasane, we can make both sides reversible. But without that, it's not gonna work. So that's more like a wisdom that we practice to make both sides beautiful. So it's not as simple as just let's cut everything off. You have to do a little bit of treatment, but once you do the treatment, you can make both sides reversible, both side as the clean side. So that's what is Sashiko. Well, as I kept explaining yesterday, Sashiko was the culture of poverty, poor people. So they didn't have the fabric, extra layer of fabric to cover the back side or wrong side. If they had those fabric, they would have used for something else. So it was developed to make both sides clean. Hello, hello. And the goal is to kind of stitch and talk simultaneously. That's the goal of my workshop, my online class of learning how to do Sashiko. I don't want everybody to focus on the actual stitch. I want them to focus on the actual process, rhythm, and also stitching itself, so they can talk, they can listen while they make Sashiko stitching. I think that's how Japanese Sashiko was developed. Just a second, I'll explain the back side. I'll show the sample of the both side, finished side. I'm sorry, I will share this. Yeah, I will share the sample of the Sashiko which both side was finished. So we don't make a knot. We do not, as you can see, we do not make any knot in Sashiko, in our Sashiko, especially when we work on the both side as the finished side. So because when we make a knot, it's obvious that one side is the back and one side is the front. こんばんは、こんばんは。Let me finish this much thread. It's kind of, how can I say, it's not even uncomfortable. It's a little weird to finish the stitching without finishing the thread. There's nothing technical about it. It's just my philosophical, or it's my habit. Alright, there we go. ええよ、イングリッシュでも日本語でもええよ。So, this is the let me take this tag off. This is just a sample of wall hanging. I hope this shows well. So this is the front, you know, the regular Asanoha stitching patterns. It's very regular, very, you know, ordinary Sashiko stitching we do. So this is the front side. This is the finished side. Everybody look at this side and say, wow, like, you know, this is Sashiko. Wow, 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 wow. Let me flip it. This is the back side. You can tell it's a back side because of the seam. You know, it's stitched on this side, it's not stitched here. So by looking at this seam, you can tell that this is the back side. But it doesn't look messy, it's clean. This is because, whoop, just a second, frozen, the camera got frozen, just a second. Just a second. I mean, the camera on the YouTube's frozen. Just a second, okay? There we go. So this is the back side of the fabric, and this is the front side. So that's how we handle the fabric. The whole purpose of making Sashiko was to make the fabric stronger. We did not have, let's say, extra layer like this to patch it on this side, like this, by facing all the both wrong side facing down each other. That's one way to do it, and we do it a lot of, like, we do a lot when we make a. Wow, it's freeze all the time. Just a second, okay? What's going on? If I move so fast, it's freeze. Just a second, okay? Ay. Probably moving too fast. There we go. I hope this is okay. Come on, come back. Come back, please. Come back. Okay. Sorry about that. So this is the whole purpose of Sashiko, to make both sides of the fabric beautiful. Instead of patching, instead of covering the wrong side, because the covering the fabric means that you have to use the extra fabric. So we have those culture and techniques to make it happen. So it is not impossible to make both sides of the fabric clean, and it's also doable for the reversible. And I do that for the denim as well, to make the both sides clean. And it's not that difficult to do it once you learn that. And but it's not as easy explaining that over the live streaming within 5 minutes of 10 minutes. So I hope you can find a video on the YouTube how to not to make a knot. That's probably a good start, and you can learn that from there. It really does not depend on the pattern. Well, depend on the pattern, the difficulty changes. So depend on the patterns, the difficulty changes, but as a professional or as the Sashiko stitcher, we are required to do pretty much all the patterns, regardless of the pattern, regardless of the difficulties. Some of the picturesque patterns are much more difficult, so that's another reason that I mainly do the geometric patterns. It's more difficult to do the picturesque patterns, like letters are more difficult, the family crest is more difficult. So it depends on the patterns, but all the patterns are possible to do it. We can do all the patterns. It's the matter of the difficulties level and also preference. Where was I stitching? But yeah, right, like that's right, like some people, like we do, choose the pattern to make it more easier. There are geometric patterns that's not really good designed for the both side finished. So but ideally, technically, I would like to myself to be able to do everything to cover both sides. No, sorry, to make the fabric both side as the finished side. That kind of lead another topics. I do Asanoha a lot because that's the easiest pattern for me to practice while I talk. I sometimes have to focus on Sashiko when I do something else, and it's gonna be disaster if I don't speak and make a lot of mistakes, which is good. But I feel I wanna be somewhat modest to what I'm doing. Modest? No, shy, or how do you do that? How do you Anyway, so some Sashiko, some Asanoha pattern has the. Well, let me share the actual example again. It's some Asanoha patterns. Well, mostly when they get the kit, the Sashiko kit, Sashiko stitch kit or something like that, they teach the instruction says that you have to open this is the back, this is the front. You have to open the center of Asanoha, like you have to make a space in between, like you have to stitch here and there, you have to kind of modify the center somehow to make a hole. There's nothing wrong with that. Especially when stitchers look at the front side and their goal is to fill the stitches length, which is already pre-printed. There's nothing wrong with doing that, and it looks probably beautiful. But I don't like it that much. It's my preference. It's not right or wrong. It's my preference that I don't like that look. And also by doing that, the back side will be messy. Because you focus on the front side, you focus on how it looks from the finished side, and then spend less caring for the back side of the fabric. I think it does happen in many other patterns, but by focusing by focusing too much on the front side or showing side, the back side will become messy. That is not wrong. Again, I'm sorry to say that, but that's not wrong. That's good. But at the same time, that doesn't sometimes follow the Japanese concept of appreciating the fabric. So I want everybody to be able to do both. I can do that. Just fill out the gap of not a gap. I'm sorry. Fill out the pattern size. Fill out the stitch sized line with one by one, like this, like this, like one by one, like this. Yeah, I feel like there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with this. With picking up all the stitches. I don't have the length stitches. Yeah, I don't have the printing with the length stitches length size here. But there's nothing wrong with filling those things. But at the same time, I don't want you to think that's the whole picture of Sashiko. I want you to learn that what is behind that, what is deeper than that. So, and as long as one follows those lines, you are enjoying a craft of somebody's prepared for you. So the result will be pretty much identical. And it's good. It's good. Like enjoy that. But at the same time, if you're gonna keep the Sashiko stitching, I want you to find your own stitches and with your own rhythm. That's my goal. That's my hope. That's my almost reason to be here. If the Sashiko is all about filling the gap to make the perfect stitches with appreciating imperfect, I don't have to be here. Many people say that Sashiko is the beauty of imperfectionist, I cannot say that word. Come on, English, come back. So many people say that Sashiko is very beautiful because it's imperfect. In my opinion, it's not even about being perfect or imperfect. It's the process of talking to yourself. It's process of accepting who you are and what you can do. Like perfect and imperfect are purely the judgment that we decide. It's in between that. So people say it's perfect, imperfect, perfect, imperfect. And many people understand Sashiko as the beauty of imperfect. I don't even consider perfect or imperfect. There's something in between that, which is the stitches. Making one stitch is perfect and imperfect is already outside of the story of Sashiko. So, I hope you can find your own rhythm and keep enjoying Sashiko. Like, don't let others to decide who you are. Come on. So that's another reason that I don't really do the pattern printed fabric. Yes. God, I'm a morning person. It's a big difference between the last night and this morning. Last night I was like very talking like in the fog. This morning I'm pretty clear, I guess. So I just want you to try to be outside of the definition of perfect or imperfect. It's not that. I don't know how many people came up with the idea of perfectionism and imperfectionism in Sashiko, but it's not really about it. I never thought of that too, so. There are a lot of strange messages that I see in Sashiko now, which I didn't see when I was a child. Yeah, but I just don't want to be judgmental to yourself in any way. So saying that accepting the beauty in imperfectionism is also another form of judging to me. So defining what is perfect and what is not perfect is already a beginning of dualism process, which I don't really like. What color is the thread? It's white. It's the number. ちょっと待って。it is number 10. It is number 10. It's a white color thread. It's not even. You scared me. It is the number 10. Not even the natural dye. It's the number 10 original white color. You scared me. I started having a little bit of eye issues, so probably that's what's going on. Yes. You're welcome. Nope. This is not an embroidery thread. This is called Sashiko thread, and I have a lot of stories. I have a lot of articles and videos. What is the difference between Sashiko thread and the other embroidery thread? I strongly recommend using the Sashiko thread. The Sashiko thread. It might be difficult to get it based on where you live, but Sashiko thread makes a significantly big difference. The Sashiko thread matters. So there's a reason why it matters. So I want to read that as well. And just a second. Come on. It makes a lot of difference, and then I recommend only the Sashiko thread we use. There are a lot of Sashiko thread recently for some reason. Well, not for some reason. Since it became a pretty big trend, many people. There are a lot of Sashiko thread in the market, but I have 3 Sashiko thread manufacturers that I sort of tested and tried and tested. I strongly recommend. Usually people ask me how can I make Sashiko stitches so even? How can you stitch so fast? How can you make it so beautiful? Blah blah blah. I get a lot of questions. Those questions are very valid, and I appreciate it. But it's not about technique sometimes. It's simply because of the thread. Sashiko is not like a rocket science. No, everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. And sometimes using this thread solved a lot of problems. Another way to express that. If I use the other thread, I don't think I can do this Sashiko at all. I am spoiled because I was born in the Sashiko family and I kept using this thread for my entire life. So, unlimited. I was there. Sashiko thread was there all the time. So I didn't have to buy it when I was a child. When I had to practice Sashiko, this thread was everywhere. But it makes a lot of difference. The fabric. I am working on the indigo dyed cotton fabric. This is cotton 100%, and the reason I'm using this fabric is it's the best fabric. I'm sorry, not the best. It's the easiest fabric I can stitch on. It's the very smooth and easy to do Sashiko running stitch. And I do Sashiko stitches to kind of reduce my stress level, it's same as running. So I don't want to have extra unnecessary stress on the fabric. So I use this fabric. It's Japanese woven from the Japanese, long established. fabric mill. I probably I not probably I talked about the fabric last night, I guess. Yes, so that'd be great if you could do that. Can you show how to use the thimble? I am sorry, but I don't do that here because that's the whole core of online Sashiko class, and I don't want to. I show how to use it, but I don't teach because teaching requires at least 3 hours of time to do it. So if you could take the online class, I can make sure that I can share everything. I don't want to just give the false information by sharing. I'm sharing it how to use it by not hiding anything, by not editing anything. But I'm not gonna make a lecture here because that could give you very wrongful information, and I don't want that to happen. So if you could take a online class, that'll be they'll solve the question. That's really difficult to explain. There's a reason that I don't share everything on the live streaming. It's not being stingy or because it's being like a filtering. Of course, I want to respect those who paid for my workshop, but at the same time, I used to offer that for free. You may believe or not, I used to do it, everything, even the things I teach online, for free. That was my starting point. I had a lot of good experience and also very bad experience. One of them is twisting what I say. And because of my lack of English, because of my lack of explanation, because that was for free, there are a lot of information. There's a lot of factors that it was not a good experience, but I just realized that this is something I learned. We people, including myself, only listen to what we want to listen, unless one tried so hard to share that for hours, at least hour. So if I share that quickly on the internet, yes, many people will benefit out of it, but at the same time, the message might be twisted in a way that I don't want, and that's what I'm very much afraid of. So after that bad experiences, several experiences, I spent 2 years of developing what is the best way to share what I want to share. And that's how I made up with the workshop and online class. So it is perfectly fine for anybody to watch me stitching and learn from that. I'm not hiding anything, and that's how I learned Sashiko as well. Nobody told me how to do it. So it is always good to learn from just watching, but sharing the step-by-step process of how to do my Sashiko stitching requires some time and hopefully the commitment to do it, so that they can learn what I want them to learn. And it's probably easy for those people who took my workshop to hear what I say, because if somebody's watching that who took my workshop, that'd be great if you could kind of help me out here. The message I share on the online class or even like in-person workshop is not about how to make stitches, and it's kind of difficult to explain that without explaining the whole picture. So yes, and the method of using this thimble is not only one. Many people use it in a different way, so I don't want to say that my way is the only one solution. So yay. But I believe that workshop is well organized for that. Okay, what time is it? It's almost okay. Still, we have time. So back to the story. Back to the topic. Thread does matters. If you wanna make a good Sashiko stitching, picking a good thread will make a significantly different. It makes a significant difference in the result. Fabric. Any kind of fabric is good, I guess. I do have a preference. I do have a preference that I like the Japanese woven fabric instead of the Western woven fabric. But it doesn't mean that the Western fabric is bad. It is easier for me to stitch on the Japanese fabric, especially those Japanese traditionally woven fabric, not like from the big company or printed fabric. But those like it is kind of difficult again because the Japanese traditional fabric mill don't sell fabric in the market. They only sell it to the it's B2B business, I guess. That's what we call that. So it's kind of difficult to get it, but that's my favorite fabric. And denim is good too. I like denim, which is kind of difficult to stitch in comparison to this one. But what else? Everything is good, but I think as I explained last night, there's a little bit of difference between the fabric based on the climate difference between Japanese climate and the other non-Japanese climate. So I'm not expert in fabric. I'm not a textile master, so the answer is I don't know what is the difference, but it's the matter of preference, but any fabric is fine for that. The workshop is about the soul and heart of the stitches, not just how. Yes, thank you so much for saying that. Thank you. And the funny thing is that by learning soul and heart, your stitches will become good. So just sharing how is not gonna be. It's only probably 30%. So that's why it's so difficult. It's like I wish I could be very, very simple to just say that, some people teach Sashiko as the running a stitch and they teach how to very quickly. I have no problem with that. But that's not exactly what I want to share. So the biggest hint I can give you is that as long as one tries to make a good stitch, they can't. It's gonna be so philosophical, and I don't want to be philosophical because it's just merely hand stitching. I don't want to be philosophical so much. But without sharing the whole stories, whole technique, whole mindset, people will listen to what they want to listen. That was a quite painful experience. You're welcome. The question is always welcome. But at the same time, I'm not saying, don't twist my word. I am not saying that you will not be able to do the Sashiko I practice if you do not take my workshop. I am not saying that. Please do not twist my word. My workshop or online class is the navigation system, like a GPS. You will not lose the way, you will not get lost, you will get to the destination very, very efficiently. You probably need only 3 hours to get to the destination, and you probably, if you practice for 2 weeks, you can do the stitching without even there are many people who does probably better than me, and I'm not exaggerating it, and that's perfectly fine. I'm a father of 5 years old without any parents' help. I cannot stitch as much as I want. So please understand my word as the navigation. At the same time, there are many people who watched my YouTube videos and then live streaming, then understood the spirit of what I'm trying to say. But it requires a lot of time to watch it, and it requires a lot of tries and errors. But I don't want to just say that it's the only one way to go. You can, of course, learn how to do Sashiko stitching the way I do without taking the online class. But there is a possibility of taking the extra time, going to the detour, or missing some. But at the same time, there are people who I respect. They just watched my YouTube videos and then share me a very beautiful stitches. So please don't twist my word for that. Because they do. Because some people do. I have to say that. Otherwise, people say that Atsushi is trying to be arrogant. He's trying to be the authority in Sashiko. He's overreacting, blah blah blah. Those are not my words. I heard that. Some people say to me those words. Like, what kind of person share the whole stitching without modifying if I want to be arrogant? Come on. But there are people like that, so I have to be careful. What is the online class like? There was a question from the YouTube. The online class is it would be great. It would be great if you could come to the Upcycle Stitches and check the online class article, because it's super long and you have to kind of read somebody's writing whose first language is not English. So that's a good start to understanding what I'm trying to say. But as a summary, you will have 3 videos length of 2 hours or 3 hours. You watch them, keep practicing with watching that, and then you'll join one live session like this. And make sure that you learn what I wanted to share. But I believe that the video is quite well organized to share what I want to say. And well, this is the kind of message I always say, but the online class is just the start. I will be there to answer any kind of question, and I share pretty much everything. I don't really hide anything. I answer the question within 20 minutes usually. So, that end up with advertising my online class. Yes, but at the same time, I just don't want to have those sad experiences anymore. It was very painful. It was last year, it was this year too. And many people say that the more I get followers, the more haters I will get. I understand, but how can I say? It is just so painful to see people twisting my word or my message. I hope it makes sense. Yes, you would. I'm sorry, like a question was, okay, I was wondering if I need a camera or not. Thank you. It would be very helpful to have the camera when you join the live session. But at the same time, you do not have to. if you have like a smartphone, if you could have somebody to film you stitching after learning, this goes to Etsy. Just a second, okay? The link in my bio goes to Etsy? Really? Wait, what? I don't think so. Just a second, okay? I'm sorry. This is the... Eh? I'm a little panic. Yeah, it's the link tree, right? Link tree, and then the second link, Sashiko Online Class 2020, goes to my website. Yes. It's not upcycle stitches. It's the Sashida.co account, and then I checked it right now. So the third one, Sashiko face mask kit, will probably take you to the Etsy. Yes. Because I have to really change this one too. But the second one is Sashiko Online Class 2020 will take you to that. Thank you for checking. Phone is getting warm. Some river. I don't want to stop this. Just a second. Come on, stop. I don't have AC in my house, so when it gets daytime, it gets super hot. Okay, now please let me know if it's too loud or not. Okay, I'll keep doing that a little more. Okay, I put the fans on, so should be okay. I apologize if it's shut down by itself. Fan. Okay. Well, actually, I'm gonna stop soon, though. Is it frozen again? Come on. What is wrong with this? Just give me a few minutes. I just want to finish this line. I want to finish this like diagonal line, then I can do something else next time. Thank you. Alright, so if you are interested in learning Sashiko from me, online Sashiko class is very much appreciated. Do you hear me? Do you hear me well? The fan is too loud even for me, so let me know if it's too bad. At the same time, I want to read what I write first. Either Instagram, I write pretty much every day. There are tons of information on the upcyclestitches.com. It might not be the best English you can read because English is my second language, but you will see what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to share. So I want you to try to read that first. Then if you feel like it's something you might want to do, then keep watching the online YouTube videos or online live streaming loud and clear. Loud and clear? Too loud? It's a very confusing message there. And then Online Sashiko Class will be good for you if you feel right. Okay. It's okay. I'm sorry. Like I will. Well, there's nothing I can do. Sorry. Is ice pack okay for the phone to be hot? It's not really good, right? Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. Why there was the face of crying then? Well, I'll try to use this mic next time then. Oh, by the way, Sashiko and fan is not the best combination, so you may realize that already. But I talk a lot today. It's a good amount of the work. Not a watch. Woohoo! That's the favorite question. Why do I leave the loop long tail? Please read. It's gonna probably explain by saying that my article "Why do I leave the loop" on my website upcyclestitches.com will explain the reason why I keep the long tail and loops. Pretty much, the simple answer is that I don't trust myself. I don't trust myself that much. But there are more reasons why I keep leaving a lot of loops. So there's a website, probably there's a video. Did I film the video? Probably there is I remember filming it. Oh, Eka-san. Wait, in this time? It's just, what, 12 o'clock or something? Aria. So yeah, if you go to the Upcycle Stitches and look for the article by typing why loop, why do we leave the loop, it will explain the reason I keep leaving the loop and loop like this, as well as the long tail. There's a reason for that, and the ultimate summary is that I don't trust myself. Bye bye, take care of your baby. It's like at night. You're welcome. Please let me know if it doesn't make any sense. I believe it does make sense, but it's quite interesting why we leave the loop. It is very. I didn't mean to, make fun of that, but just it's very common question because not many people do this when they do Sashiko stitching, I guess. Leaving a loop is a little. This is very common for me because I kept looking at this views since my childhood. It seems like it's quite not interesting, quite unique for those who make the Sashiko stitching in a different way. Ah! Something got stuck in my nose. No, throat. So, by the way, although in the beginning of this live streaming I explained that the Sashiko can be reversible and both sides can be clean, finished side, this exactly project what I'm stitching right now, I do not plan to use the both side as the finished side. I am planning to have the back fabric on, so this is not designed to be clean. Well, it's gonna be clean. It's clean. It's not as messy as the other, stitches, but it's not gonna be as clean as. See, this is the reason I don't want to do Sashiko with a fan. Like flipping. Do I always sew the back? I almost always stitch from the back side, and then the beginning of this live streaming I talked about what is the reasons and stories about stitching from the back side. So if you could rewatch this live streaming before it gets deleted, it's gonna be deleted soon, well, within 24 hours or so, I believe. Or you can come to the live YouTube on the same day. I'm doing the live streaming on YouTube simultaneously right now, so YouTube sashi.co, you can get that archives. I think that's available all the time. Konnichiwa, domo desu. Yes. Sorry. I just wanted to make sure that I'm on the YouTube as well. If not, that's very scary. It's not scary, but I have to download. Is it not right to cut the thread? I always cut in the end since I start from the certain side. Is it not right to cut the thread? I always cut it in the end since I stood from the certain side. I do not quite get your question, but there's no such a thing as correct or right or wrong in Sashiko, so it is okay to cut the thread too. Sorry, I don't really get that question. But the things I can say is there's no such a thing as should or right or wrong. Like many people say that, like, should I stitch from the back side? The answer is you do not have to, but I want to know how to, or you can. That's my answer usually. You don't have to, but I want to know how to do that. Does it make sense? There's no such a thing as should or you like, do I have to learn how to stitch like should I learn how to stitch like you do? Oh, you don't have to. I mean, it's up to you. But it would be great if you learn that, right? I was watching you earlier live recording and practicing my Nihongo listening you. Well, my dialect is kind of mixed with a lot of places, but I'm from Hida area, Takayama. Hida Takayama, yeah, Hida Takayama is my hometown. It's pretty famous now as the tourist city, so that's where I am from. However, I try my best to hide it. It's kind of shameful for me to use. Not as shameful. I'm proud of where I'm from, but um, I try to not to use the dialogue much. Dialogue, right? Dialect. I'm sorry, dialect. I try to not to use that dialect much. So, and also my best friend were from Nagoya, where, oops, reconnecting. Huh. Okay, this is the. I will come back. Just a second. The Instagram stopped, so I will come back to the live streaming just now. Just a second. Alright, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I was doing the Sashiko live streaming for 1 hour. I didn't realize that. And the Instagram shut down the live streaming after 1 hour. I didn't see the warning there. So I will stop the live streaming very soon. The battery is also kind of running out. So I will stop Sashiko live streaming soon. Thank you so much for watching. I would like to show you the result of 3 hours. 2 hours? How much did I do that? So the archive, you can probably watch it from my Instagram account as well as YouTube. YouTube Sashi.co, same account. Sashi.co channel should have this archives. So if you could watch that, that'd be great. One more line. I hope I can do this. One more line. No, 2 more line. Ooh. こんばんはです。No, it's not good to kind of rush, but I wanna. Come on. Sorry, I'm kind of focused on that. Just, I wanna finish it. I wanna finish it as much as I can. So if my Instagram shut down, please come to the YouTube. YouTube doesn't shut down. I spent so much time and so much effort to upgrade the YouTube channel, so. Okay. One more line, I guess. Come on. Time. If there's any remaining question, please leave the comments on my post. I may be able to answer that next time I'm here. Okay. 2個か。時間あるかな。one more line here. Like this will complete. Not gonna complete, but all right. Okay, so it's still not done yet. I hope I would have completed by now, but so this is the result of yesterday's live streaming and today's live streaming. There's still things here missing, and this is gonna be like this pattern. It's gonna be like exactly this pattern, the same size. Yes. So there's still missing part, and I will complete it within probably in the next live streaming. I may be able to complete it. This is the front side, this is the back side, and the beauty of this live streaming is you can literally watch all the process of me stitching. I do not hide anything, I don't really cut anything. Everything is that is my goal of sharing everything, and I do have the workshop to follow up those learning, but my goal is to share everything. So if you want to see how I do this kind of stitching, I'm not done yet this much, but you can see all the process. It took about last night 1 hour. It's about 3 hours to stitch this much. Some people say it's not that fast, some people say it's fast. Many people can do faster than this. You know, I'm talking as well, so. But that's my sashiko, that's our sashiko, that it's not like one stitch by one stitch. We let the needle run to make stitches. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I will come back next Saturday, hopefully around this time, or Friday night in the Eastern time, New York time. I don't know when, but I will see you in the post and live streaming. Your comments will help me to understand what is the questions I should be talking about. I can be talking about, so that'll be appreciated. Alright, thank you so much. Have a nice weekend. Bye bye. Bye bye.